State.
Just immediately start going.
And we're live. What's up? You got your mic? You got it all set up?
It's not connected to anything, but it looks pretty cool.
Mine's plugged in, and but I'm still having trouble figuring it out.
Is this thing on? Because there's nobody watching.
You're awesome, man. Man, as I was turning that game on, Ewers fumbled, and the game was over. I started at the beginning, and I was following during my daughter's birth. But yeah, why don't you get us started? We're nobody's watching yet, but they might rewind and watch the start. But yeah, we're the Sideline Podcast. We are just going to react live to the semifinal games. Not really a script or a plan tonight, but yeah, just why don't you get us started with the Ohio State Texas? Let it out, man.
Well, I mean, so I'm someone who I like people that start podcasts and they do radio shows and stuff. They have to be kind of unbiased because you don't want to like cancel out any part of your audience. But I don't care if any Ohio State fans. No, I mean, ultimately they did not look incredible tonight. Ohio State against Texas. Texas, their defense. I think Texas's defense is the best in the NCAA. I know that the way they were able to put a cap on. Jeremiah.
It doesn't. Are we live on X? Or the chat is not.
It says I am live.
I just the chat. I'm not seeing. Can't post. Oh, it might be interesting. I just don't see the X. I'm just gonna pull it up on my phone. I just want to make sure we don't have technical. Oh, it says live. Join. Okay, yeah, we're live.
There's just nobody.
That's all right. I just want to make sure I had the chat. Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see that now.
Okay.
I can see it on there. I can't see it on my phone, but yeah.
Such is life.
Such is life. Okay, let me actually jump on my TSP Kevin. Anyway, go ahead. You don't want to be biased, but
I don't want to be biased, but I just think Texas has the best defense in the NCAA, and yeah, they're not going to the Natty. If they had a quarterback worth, I mean, Quinn Ewers has had good weeks, but like, goodness gracious, the past, like he had two beautiful passes to Jadon Blue for touchdowns, and then he overthrew guys like the very next play. I think he got Gunnar Helm laid out pretty good. He overthrew him when Gunnar Helm was wide open. Like I made this little banner here at the bottom saying that Quinn Ewers equals Drew Aller because I really genuinely think that the comparison is actually pretty. I think that's a fair comparison. I don't know if anyone agrees with me or disagrees with me, but they both just under pressure.
I disagree. Again, I didn't watch the game, most of it. But I think Quinn Ewers is more of a game manager. It seems like he'll take he'll take a check down, he'll take a safe throw. Drew Aller just does not have an ounce of that in his bone. Like he's got the Brett Favre, I'm wearing number 15 because I grew up liking Mahomes. Like it just. But sorry, we're going to stay on Texas here before I let it out on Penn State.
No. Yeah, well, let's stay on Texas. But I
don't know if I would. I don't know if they're the same type of quarterback. Would be all I would say. That would be my short answer.
The same end result. And here's the deal.
Fair.
I saw a post earlier on X saying that, and I didn't fact check this, but it would not surprise me if it was true. It said Drew Aller did not complete one single pass to a wide receiver during that entire game.
Is that off this hat? This is Mitchell Nevis 76ers.
Oh, nice. 76ers. There you go. He threw it to Tyler Warren, which who wouldn't? But the Penn State Nittany Lions have no one at wide receiver. Quinn Ewers he's got Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, Silas Bolden. Who else does he have over there? DeAndre Moore. He's got some studs, and then he's got two running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. So that's why I think that you may think that Quinn Ewers he'll do the check down or that he can complete some passes, but he's got some people with a pulse on the other side of the ball that can even catch it. Where I don't think Drew Aller has not had that. I don't think his entire time. Maybe Keandre Lambert-Smith, maybe.
Yeah, he's got some guys though. I think it's a scheme. For Penn State, it's the James Franklin. The biggest thing I heard, and honestly, going into that game, I had very little faith that going into the playoffs, I had very little faith that Penn State was going to actually come through in the big moments. I'm sorry. That's where I'm at. And I've said a lot of negative things, and there's been a lot of wow, I didn't know Penn State fans were so and I'm such a low bar of a Penn State fan. I'm more of a Huskies fan these days because I live in Seattle. I have family ties there. But my roots are Pennsylvania, and so I want to see the hometown team do well. But I just had no hope. I had no thought that they were going to. But I'm looking at the bracket. I'm there's no reason they shouldn't be in the Natty. There's no reason. This is the perfect setup of a bracket, and they completely miffed it. And so I wish I'd say I'm surprised, but I'm just not. It's what they do. It's what James Franklin does. I posted several times yesterday. I guess we have to give him another year because you have to. I guess, but. Yeah, I don't know if he's just going to all of a sudden start winning big games. But sorry, and this is the one thing I was going to say on Drew Aller. I'm not I know before the fantasy season this year, I think you had Drew Aller and then you traded him away. Is that correct?
Yeah. I also, side note, not a good story at all, but I traded away Kyron Lacey as well. Yikes. Anyway,
but when you were, I feel like you were pretty high on him. You were man, I don't know if I should trade this guy away. I was I'll send it. I don't know who you were getting, but sure, let me have it, And so but the thing I heard on the broadcast the other day is Drew Aller always has this look on him he doesn't have quarterbacks need confidence. They need somebody to be not false confidence, not blowing smoke up them that, hey, you're the greatest thing ever, but somebody to be in their corner to say, hey, you got this, man. You're going to go on this field right now and lead us to where we need to get. And he's got all the talent, but it feels like he just, I read something where it was he went out on that last drive, probably mentally thinking, I'm going to screw this up. Now, he's not going to admit that. The coaches aren't going to admit that. But it's what is that? Is that the quarterback coach? Is that the coaching? Is it the scheme? I don't know, but it's just, and I'm if you can't throw the ball, then that's why I have bring back Bo as my tagline, because Bo Prabula was a better runner than Aller. So I'm if you're not able to throw the football, then put the better runner in there. I don't care if Prabula is not as developed as a passer. If he's the more electric runner, why the heck did we let him go? And with hopes that Aller comes back. Aller could easily decide, you know what, screw this, I'm going to go to the NFL. So anyway, I'm going to give this about 5-6 more minutes. Again, anybody out there listening, if you have any thoughts, chats, this is a safe place. Texas, Penn State fans, let it rip. It was my daughter's birthday today, long day at work, so I don't plan to be on here long, but we will be live streaming tomorrow, full podcast around 8 o'clock, so join us then. More detailed breakdowns, projecting to – there we go, there's Lightmore.
We can always count on this, man.
So, wait, Lightmore, are you – I have to solve this. Where is he? And Lightmore, you never reached out with your tag. Are you Bob Dole, 1776 on? I don't think he is because he's commenting on YouTube.
He is Bob.
This is Bob. So Ryan Lightmore is Bob Dole. All right, comment on YouTube. I love it. That's I didn't have the connection. There we go. Now we saved it. And we're following you. Okay, so we got to figure it out. So that makes me think even more that Ryan Lightmore is a Russian bot, but we're gonna roll with it. He's Bob on Twitter and he's Ryan on YouTube. So to each their own. So anyway, about 4 more minutes. What else do you got to say? I know you really don't like Ohio State.
I never have loved Ohio State. I remember being a young man and watching Texas, Ohio State when Vince Young was there, and that was one of the more fun national championship games that I've seen, and I was hoping for something like that this evening. But Quinn Ewers is no Vince Young. What the F? I'm not a Russian bot. Ryan Bob, for what it's worth, I know that I believe you. I believe you 100%.
I believe you as well. I was just curious, why are you Ryan on YouTube and Bob on Twitter? That's all I was curious about. Is your middle name like Ryan Bob Dole Lightmore? Or are you just not that guy? Maybe Bob was meant to be a question mark. Like, who are you talking about, Bob? Bob Dole, if you're out there, it's got to be him, because in the year of our Lord is exactly what Bob Dole said on X.
Yeah, I believe
that's him. I'm confused, Ryan. Just give us some clarity on that. So, anyway, you were saying Texas.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's just briefly recap this. I'll do the Texas game here real quick. So I watched the entire thing. Ohio State opened up with the scoring, and they kind of marched. So Texas received the ball in the first, at first they got the ball first, and they did not score, not even a field goal on that drive. But they punted it, and Ohio State kind of ran the ball and threw the ball, and Will Howard had some good throws, and Quinshon Judkins had some good runs, and they were able to score. And I was like, I believe we're in for a long night here. Anyone who's pulling for Texas, and so. But after a couple of stops after that, and Texas being able to put the ball in with 29 seconds to go and to tie it up, 29 seconds to go in the first half to tie it up, I was like, oh, this is going to be a good game. And then on the ensuing drive, like I said, 29 seconds to go, Will Howard throws a screen pass to Travion Henderson, and he houses it, leaving 13 seconds on the clock. In the second half, Texas must not have been in prevent defense, but they allow Ohio State to go up 14-7 after being able to regain some semblance of inertia. And you can't let that happen. You cannot let that happen. There are a couple questionable calls with Sark. Ryan Day, not a huge fan. But he had some good calls. Do you think I think it might be, Chip Kelly's, he's the guy behind the mirrors and the curtain there. I think, why do I feel like he has more to do with it than Ryan Day? Is that because I just don't like Ryan Day?
No, I'd agree with that 100%. Like sorry, I was just trying. Can you hear my computer pinging when that message was coming through? You can't hear that.
I can hear pinging. I don't know if it's your computer, but I know someone's going through.
I'll hopefully I just will not be pinging anymore. No, there's definitely. I think everything you hear is that Chip Kelly is reinvigorated. He doesn't have to worry about the whole team, all the shenanigans. All he has to do is scheme up crazy awesome plays, and we all know he can do that. I mean, I loved watching him coach the Eagles. He burned the team to the ground, but like the offense was incredible to watch. Like it again, you knew it wasn't going to last because you're like, you can't run grown men with mortgages to 90 plays a game, just running them like they're a bunch of 18-year-old dudes out there. Like it doesn't work in the NFL. I think it the long term is him as a coach, and he's clearly made adjustments. This isn't the Oregon Ducks offense for Ohio State, but the creativity, the multiple looks, the running game married with the pass game. Yeah, Chip is dealing, and I think it's he's probably loving it. You know, he's got all these toys to play with, and yeah, I'm sure he's loving life right now. I don't think he takes a head coaching job when he's got that good of a OC.
Yeah.
I think I feel like I even remember him saying in an interview like he just wants to coach like kind of like Bill Belichick going back to UNC. It's like just wants to coach ball, like anyway. Ryan Lightmore, I think we ticked him off. You're not a Russian bot, man. What are your thoughts? Anybody in the chat? Yeah, let's touch on. I've got a few more minutes. I peel a few more minutes. Let's briefly touch. This is my nightmare NC. Let's touch on the national championship. Yeah, I agree with him on that. Like I'll watch it because I'm a fan of football and it's the national championship, but like I strongly dislike both of these teams, and I feel like they don't have a real strong. I mean, Notre Dame has a bit of a national following, but they're like the Yankees. Like you just don't like them unless you like them, and so yeah, I just don't like either of these teams.
I think that I think I'm gonna go Notre Dame because I can't stand Ohio State, but I think it's gonna be. I think Notre Dame doesn't belong there. Yes, they've won, but I don't think they belong there. You remember when TCU somehow made it, and then Georgia just blew the doors off of them. That was the national title game. I think we're going to have a similar situation. It might not be as bad, but Ohio State, like Texas was the team to beat. I don't even think Oregon was. Aren't they both top 5 defenses? Yeah, Notre Dame does have a great defense, but I just don't have faith in Riley Leonard, quite honestly. And I feel like Ohio State, I think they had a tougher schedule. And maybe it's just the way Notre Dame has performed in the playoffs in the past that have left me a little gun shy to think that they could have a chance against Ohio State. Also, maybe I'm trying to not jinx Notre Dame and say that they could win and then get my hopes up and then only to be absolutely crushed if it doesn't happen. So there's probably a few different things going into my rant here.
Yeah, this is crazy. They're actually. This can't be. Hold on, I don't know if I'm. Because this is saying this. There's one thing where it ranked Ole Miss. I'm like, Ole Miss had that good of a defense this year. I don't know if this is accurate, but yeah, Notre Dame, Ohio State, like in a lot of metrics, they are 1 and 2, top 5, top 10. Again, depends what you're looking at, but yeah, both good defenses. I think Notre Dame's specialty is taking the ball away, turnovers. That can go cold at times. So that it's kind of can, live and die by the turnovers, but they seem to have guys that have a knack for the ball. I would say the kid on Notre Dame with the old school helmet, you know what I'm talking about? Like the big face mask with the middle bar, you know what I'm talking?
I don't know what you're talking about, but
you got to watch Notre Dame. Yeah, pull for that kid. Like just in 2025, rolling out there with that helmet. I don't know what Lightmore. You know what his name is? He's like 98, 58. I don't know what he's run stuffer. He's a pretty good ball player. But yeah, that helmet is elite level of old school football. So and then you've got the offensive linemen just a bunch of Catholics getting riled up. cursing each other out before the game. Like, you'll love to see it. I guess, I don't know. I can't go for Notre Dame after beating Penn State.
You're going for Ohio State? Wow, a Penn State guy.
I think I got to go for State guy. But and the Huskies, it's like I'm going for Big Ten, I think, over just the one-off on the Irish.
I'm gonna have to ask the Irish to pray for you, man. I
will say Jeremiah Love with a knee injury, big old brace on, and then hurdling that kid was incredible. Sprinkled with a little bit of insanity, like to
what a jabroni. That's right, baby.
Yeah, I can't go Ohio. I can't do it.
You're an absolute jabroni.
But I can't cheer for Notre Dame either. I guess I'm just gonna I'm not cheering for anybody. I'm just cheering that it's
you hope
good
the halftime
game.
show is so good.
Yeah. I hope there's overtime. I hope it's exciting football, but I'm not gonna be like, oh man, if somebody wins, I'm gonna be excited about it. Yeah. So I'm watching and cheering for the love of the game. I can't support Ohio State. So
yeah, I'm not sure if I look at the bracket. I'm not sure there's any other teams that could have made it that I would have pulled for less. Like Clemson, I would have pulled for Clemson. Texas, I was pulling for Texas. Arizona State would have been great. Tennessee, obviously. I would even pull for Oregon, SMU, Penn State, Boise State, Indiana, and Georgia. All of those teams I would pull for night and day above who is actually there.
11 and 12, yep, for sure. I can't believe Penn State. Sorry, I'm not trying to monopolize this. I just am so – I tweeted someone this morning like, yeah, I slept on it, and I still blame James Franklin. Like, I'm just so – it's just so demoralizing, man. It's so frustrating to, like, know that your team is going to disappoint, and then you just watch them do it. The problem is, back to your argument, a week or so ago about do you play for overtime? Do you not? And one thing I read was it's not that we were supposed to play for overtime. It's that you didn't play for overtime. You gave the game away. And so there's a difference in like, hey, we ran on first down for 11 yards. Like, why don't you do that again? College football, the clock stops. And I know in the press conference, he said he was trying to throw it at a guy's feet, but when does a quarterback throw the ball away at somebody's feet, like in the middle of the field? I just
normally if you see that like on a screen pass where
huck that thing out of bounds and live to fight another day.
Yeah,
I honestly think he just didn't want to throw his wide receiver under the bus, and there might be a reason he's not throwing the ball at wide receivers. Like on that play, it looked. Not that the receiver gave up, but that the cornerback ran a better route than the receiver did. Like he like cut over the top of him to get the interception. So I'm like, the receiver was just like not expecting the ball or like just kind of gave up on it. And it's like, I feel like that's a huge part of quarterback wide receivers, that trust, where like, hey, the reason Mike Evans gets so many targets in the NFL is because his quarterbacks know, like, if you're going to throw it up to him, he's not going to let the other guy catch it. He might not catch it, but he's not going to let the other guy come down with it. And that is a huge part of being a wide receiver. Like, you got to look out for your quarterback. They are trusting you to at least make an effort. And, like, didn't even make an effort on the ball. So we got a question here. What's your thoughts on the power shift between the big
last thing? That's a great question. Last thing on this. And you touched on this last thing on this game, and we'll probably circle back because I know you're a Penn State guy, even like a little bit of a Penn State guy.
Yeah,
they should not with Singleton having the game that he had. There is zero reason he should be throwing that ball, like at all. I don't think you even call that play. Those did not anything you were throwing away from number 44, Tyler Warren. Was not working. So Warren, go to what's working when the game's on the line. And he tried to get cute or whatever, and it was just a poor decision. It cost him. That's the thing that's going to keep him up for some nights probably. But anyway, what are your thoughts, Kevin, on the power? We kind of touched bases about. I posted something about the NIL and how that's affected.
Yeah, I might answer and then dip out and let you just kind of wrap this up. I really do need to get going.
Okay.
But I look forward to tomorrow night, 8:00. Let's get back on here and talk more in depth on these things. Ryan, we hope to see you there. My thoughts on the power shift. I don't think it, like the Big Ten, it always has been the big top 4 schools. Like it's in the Big Ten. We're not talking Illinois, Indiana this year, but like Northwestern, like that's not what we're talking about when we're saying Big Ten. So like Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, it's really been those 3. Like, has anybody else in the Big Ten really competed other than those 3? And now we have Oregon, we have Huskies coming in. I don't think that the Big Ten is taking over until they win multiple national championships. Again, I may come across like an SEC hater. I'm more of a Lane Kiffin hater. I think that the SEC has been the best conference. They have won 80, 85, 90% of the championships since the year 2000, like the occasional Ohio State, the occasional Clemson. But there's a reason. So I don't think that power shift is – I don't think you can quite say like, oh, Big Ten is the best conference now. I think they are top heavy with really good teams. I think the top teams in the Big Ten can compete and beat SEC teams because their talent, their size is always there. So yeah, that's my thought. I think in this era, we are still figuring it out. Like who's going to dominate the transfer portal, the free agency, the contract, like it's just college football is changing so much. So what are your thoughts on that book? And then
you dip out. I just want to mention, I saw, like, you think about Curt Cignetti at Indiana. What were his 2 losses this year? The 2 teams in the national title. Those are the only losses this man had. So he was getting trashed on about losing to Notre Dame. And then he lost to Ohio State, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's not a good coach. He's not a good coach."
Yeah,
the teams he lost are in the national title. So Curt Cignetti, he's a good coach. Anyway, I think that I'm probably more on. I don't know if Ryan or Bob thinks that there's a power shift, or like I guess with his question he does. I think that there is a power shift, and everything has laid even because of the NIL. The SEC just did not dominate. Anyone could beat anyone. Like Vandy beat several teams. Florida did not have a good team, and they were able to take out Ole Miss. Like Alabama lost. Tennessee was good. You leaving? All right, man.
Yeah, I'm out. Keep it going.
I'm gonna probably get out soon, but
we'll see you guys. Yeah, wrap it up. Lightmore. We'll see you tomorrow.
Cool. Yeah, I think that there is a power shift. Yes, exactly. There's money. Now there's money everywhere. I think that the most egregious or most visible example of that is Dave Portnoy. And goodness, what's is it Bryce Underwood? He literally, like, Bryce Underwood committed to LSU for however long. And then Dave Portnoy says, "Hey, I'm going to throw a bunch of money at you," because he's a big Michigan guy, if you come to Michigan. And then he ends up going to Michigan. So kids are no longer going to the SEC for the to get wins or to be a part of the most dominant conference. It's A, money, and B, if you can get the money and be on a team with other guys that are getting the money, you're going to be a good team. Yeah, that's true. He was a Michigan. He was from Michigan, so I guess, I mean, to a degree, it makes sense that he stayed or he transferred back. But it's money. He always wanted to play their hometown kid. I would be interested in knowing that. I mean, I don't know. Why did he choose LSU over Michigan in the first place? Because it was certainly not because Brian Kelly had a good personality. I'd be interested in knowing that. But Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. This was supposed to be a short one anyway, and we're coming up right on 30 minutes. This was fun, though. Ryan, thank you so much for being here, as always. Follow us on X at SidelineFFPod, and then you can follow my buddy Kevin at TSP_Kevin, and myself, Booker, at TSP_Booker. Appreciate everybody. Have a great night, and we'll be on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Peace.